All right, looks like I'm live. Welcome to our Success Mastermind for Friday the 13th. It is May 13th. I'm obviously traveling, and so my lighting, actually, it's a little bit better than it was yesterday, but that's all right. We'll get with it. That's fine. But good to see you if you're here tuning in. I'm actually traveling right now for a business convention, which is a big deal. Happens once a year, just me and about 20,000 of my closest friends. And so I've gotten some perspectives that I want to share with you that I think can be useful, not only for your own, whatever you're doing now, but the theme of our sessions as of late has been expansion and actually creating not only systems and the mindset of expansion, but the perspective also of compartmentalizing stuff, which is what I want to talk with you about here today. Is that well, as the old saying goes, you can't be all things to all people. Oh, before I get into that though, let me announce that Be Heard for our members. Be Heard is suspended for today, as I'm going to be in meetings and actually supposed to be in a meeting now. I'm playing hooky, but said I would be here, so here I am. That's what I do. I'm Mr. Reliable. Anyway, so I wanted to give you some perspectives on the old saying as it goes, you can't be all things to all people. Well, you can be something, right? You can't, I mean, some people, I think they've got that as sort of a knee-jerk reaction, right? Well, I can't, right? So that's a mantra that goes through people's minds and they think most of the times about what they can't do, but there are things you can do. In other words, we got to create some balance between the can'ts and the cans. Now, I know on the other side, on the motivational speaking circuit and whatever, there's all, the idea that I can, which is beautiful. Now, we're not going to reach for a goal if we don't believe we can achieve it. We're not going to attempt something unless we have a, some degree of confidence that it could bear fruit. Okay, so that's where a lot of the the books and the speeches and lectures and stuff that talk about how you can and building your own, I guess, self-esteem or self-confidence, right? That's where that stuff comes in, because a lot of people are stuck in the I can't. Okay, but what I want to get with you here today about is the idea that you can compartmentalize stuff. You can make deliberate choices about maybe not can and can't, but maybe I choose to. I say yes versus I choose to say no. This came up for me because I caught myself just yesterday or the other day. I heard something coming out of my mouth, which I hear all the time. I'm hearing it right now, but I heard something come out of my mouth, which I thought could have been stated more accurately and truthfully. I was about to say, I don't have time for, and then whatever the item was that I was going to say no to, whatever the activity was. And then I caught myself. I was like, oh, that's actually not the truth. I got the same amount of time as you. And some people say yes to that. So the truth is that I choose not to invest my time in that at this juncture. So I choose to say no to that. It's not that I don't have time. See, that's an affirmation of lack. Did you hear it? Right? I don't have. Okay. So the idea with all this is that we remain more causative, right? Less, oh, I'm a victim of this or that, or I'm, life is bashing me around, but I'm deliberately choosing what I say yes or no to. And because I've got the ability to say, you know what, I'm not going to, wow, sun just went behind a cloud. There's a high rise right there, and the sun is hitting the high rise and blasting me with light. So I got a shade right there. And so the lighting is just what it is. Deal with it. But I can't be all things to all people, but I can be these things to these people. Met yesterday with some very successful people. One of them's a multi-billionaire, and he can't be all things to all people, but he can be this, this leader, this executive, this visionary, right? In terms of his business activities and the things he chooses to do with however much time he has. So compartmentalization. I can be, so here's the balance. Yeah, I can't be all things to all people, but I am going to say yes, and I'm going to engage fully in these operations, and not only that, but the beingness that comes with that, or that is required to show up with that. I've often said more important than what you do is who's doing it. So if we have all these things that we believe we can't do, or we're going to be more deliberate and choose to say no to, well, then the things that we are saying yes to, it's like a full yes in all caps with bold font and as big as it'll fit on the page, right? Yes. So like decide who you are, and then be that unapologetically. That's the trick, is that a milquetoast approach. I love that word. We don't use that often enough. A milquetoast approach, which means kind of spineless and weak. I think that phrase was coined in the early 1900s, or that word. Anyway, look it up. But a milquetoast approach is, I'll tell you what, that doesn't mix, especially in the modern marketplace, with, everything, things changing really quick, people moving, online, and new forms of e-commerce, and the battle, let me say this, the battle for people's attention in the business world, that's the main consideration, right? Is with all marketing and, having actual success in business, is, can you capture the attention? Can you maintain and keep that attention of your ideal customer, right? Can you expand that reach, right? Well, you can't do that with a milquetoast approach. I did a podcast episode a few years back with a former business partner of mine, and the title of it was "Milquetoast and Marketing Don't Mix." I think that, yeah, that holds water for me. I agree. I agree with myself in my own title, right? So that hasn't changed, right? Now that doesn't mean that you're, a hard ass. Okay, so understand that having boundaries and deciding who you are, and including what you aren't, right? Because there's the contrast, right? That doesn't make you unlikable or something, or arrogant. Now, you may have seen people who are hard-charging business types, type A personalities or whatever, and you may think they've been brash, and in some cases they have been. In some cases, yeah, there are arrogant people, there are brash people, there are boorish people. There's another word we don't use too often, boorish, like a bore, like a bull in a china shop, right? It doesn't mean you're bored, right? It means like boorish, like busting your way through stuff, unrefined, right? Great word. But yeah, there are those people as well. Does that mean you have to be that way? Well, no, there's no have tos here. And I think that the more you demonstrate who you are in the marketplace and in your relationships and just in the modern course of your daily course of life, the more authentic you are, I think the more attractive you'll be to the people who you can be something for. So back to the original idea, you can't be all things to all people. Okay, got it. But I can be this. So let me go ahead and be that, like for real, because it's congruent and it's authentic. It's not fake it till you make it, right? Which I would argue that doesn't work. I get the context of it in some contexts. I get where that can be beneficial to people to have a consideration like that. But the real bottom line is be, do, and have in that order. There's no faking who you're being. Okay. Because then, I mean, you're not even sold. You're not even sold, right? And if I don't have me, well, I got no shot. So I've got to decide who I am and then be that fully. And I haven't been. All right. So here's the cognition, right? Here's the breakthrough. Okay. That sounds good intellectually, good stuff, right? We could read that. We could talk about it, Are you doing it? In my first book, Integrity is Everything, I talked about how, if I don't have me, if I don't have my word, well, I got no shot. Right. Now, what is integrity? It's the state of being whole, undivided, and undiminished. Whole, undivided and undiminished. So if I'm divided, if I'm having cognitive dissonance or some, inner conflict or, some fight, like intention, counter intention, right? Idea, counter idea, right? There's the fight that so many of us go through. And sometimes we're aware of it and sometimes we don't. But that which causes us to not quite reach, to not quite act, to not quite demonstrate, or to hole up, right? Or hide, or in some case diminish, right? There's the word, to diminish who we are and how we show up in life and in, our relationships and the marketplace and everything else. And then, and here's the interesting part, and then to look at the result of that and to say, well, I'm just not that good. Well, hold on, you never even showed up. Oh, there it is. There it is. My results are mediocre. Therefore, I'm mediocre. Whoa, 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 whoa. Remember the be, do, and have trifecta here, right? So you got to be something to do something, and you got to do something to have something. Okay. So if you're observing your results and they're lackluster, and then you blame yourself, okay, well, what's in the middle? What you did or didn't do, okay? And what's behind that? Who did it? So if the who didn't even show up fully, right? If it wasn't, John or Daisy or Mandy, or put your name in there, if it wasn't that person unapologetically, with integrity, whole, undivided, and undiminished, well, then you didn't even do it. These results can't be yours because you didn't even show up. Yeah, a little piece of you did. This may sound like some mental gymnastics, but try this on. This is some interesting perspective. Can I look at my results and fully own them if I didn't fully show up and fully execute? No. I guess that's kind of a relief. But then, once you've confronted that, and once you've said, well, okay, so that was my error. Okay, not just look at I got mediocre results, but I didn't even bother showing up. Okay, so now if we confronted that, what part of that we've been responsible for, we can make a new decision. Now, quite often, and this is for me, and maybe this works for you as well, but quite often, when we decide I'm going to show up more fully as the real being, right, as the real person who's going to execute, who's going to do, and who's going to have the results that I intended, right, and provide benefit and increase to the people who I do intend to serve, well, then the other side of that is, what am I going to cut off? What am I going to say no to? Can't be all things to all people. Decide who you are and then be that. Now, me personally, I have the tendency to grab stuff and hold on to it forever, right? I've got personal friends who know that I'm loyal to a fault, like never, ever, ever, ever turn your back on an ally. That's just part of my code of honor. Fine, great. And I think that's an asset. That's good. I'm not questioning that. Okay. But as I am in these relationships, business or personal or whatever, as I am and have a tendency to be with all kinds of stuff, right? Here's a money-making opportunity. Okay. I hate saying no to opportunities, right? I like opportunities. Like the earlier part of my life, I just wanted to get into stuff. Right? Can I just get my foot in the door? Can I, right? I mean, think back to you may be, 20 years old hearing this right now, but let's say if you're not 20 years old, think back to when you were 20 years old, you just wanted to get in the game. Where's the spot for me? I want to make my space, create my arrival, right? I want to arrive, right? And you want to get into stuff. And so that may have become unconscious, right? That may be habitual, right? I'm always looking to get into stuff, and it's good. It's exciting, right? There's novelty, but I know people who are always getting into stuff but never completing it. Now, if the anatomy of success itself is completing what you start, and if we look, we'll discover that's the case, right? You made a decision, you took action, you completed whatever that action was, and now it's done, and that's called success, right? You successfully did that action. You took it to a done. Right. But people who are always looking to get into stuff with less discernment and considerations about, what is the opportunity cost of that? What will I have to say no to do that? They don't say no to anything. They say yes to everything, and they never complete anything. And the results are crap. Very predictable. So I'm telling you, I have the tendency to do that, as do a lot of people, right? Especially if you've looked at your results with this or that other thing that you didn't quite show up for, right? And then you're thinking, well, I need to get into something else. We call this shiny object syndrome. Some of you have heard this phrase, right? Oh, it's the next thing. Oh, this. But, chase too many rabbits, you catch none of them, right? So what we've got to do, I think, back to the original idea, is create boundaries and decide where we're going to show up fully, and then be that like to the max. Is there someone else who owns the title of the best in the world at this or that, post, whatever the title is, and like you can't have it because they've already got it? What did Wallace Wattles talk about in The Science of Getting Rich? That never believe that opportunity is monopolized, or that someone else will get what is rightfully yours. No, there's a limitless supply. Limitless. Okay. Even like the house that you wanted and somebody else bought the house, there's lots more houses. Better. Okay. So don't be in this competitive mindset where, if they get more, I get less, or anything like that. Be of the creative mindset. But who's showing up to create? And are they showing up fully? I just tell you in my own life that quite often the answer is no. No. Now, if I compare myself to, and you can all do this, right? So here are people who are not as far down the path as you, or who is not as awake as you. Then I guess that's a bit of a Band-Aid you can put on your own self, ideas or whatever. But, look, I'm doing better than the guy in the gutter in the street. John, yeah, you're doing better than that. Okay. Right. So is that the barometer, right? Is like, and I know that we recently read the book, The Gap and the Gain, where it talked about, measuring your growth, your success from where you've been, not based on some moving ideal, right? No, I still haven't gotten it yet, therefore I'm worthless, right? No, look where I've come. So that's good, self-validating and gratitude for all we've accomplished and continue to accomplish, and who we've become in the process. But the idea that that like the standard is like something, way down here, and therefore, it's okay. Maybe it's not okay, right? Maybe we go ahead and redefine, or we talked about this earlier this week, reassess our standards, and then live up to them. So if there's anything we're gonna grab and hold on to, if there's anything we're gonna be loyal to a fault with, I think it's got to be ourselves, our own beingness, our identity, right? To really decide who you are. And what is a decision? It's a cutting off point, right? Decide who you are. And then with everything we do, never let go of that, right? Who's showing up? Like before you walk into a room, you guys remember Dorothea Brand, Wake Up and Live? We read that book, one of my favorite books. And she talked about how, and forgive me on the details, a preparatory school for young ladies, right? One of the things they teach them is to pause at the threshold of the room. So I'm picturing in my mind like a ballroom, and here's the young lady about to walk in. Well, before you just walk through the threshold, you pause and assess the room, and then you proceed. So now I know you're all picturing me in a beautiful gown, right? So that, but think of the mental aspect of that. Okay, so whether you physically paused or not, or whether you're wearing a gown or not, okay, you before entering the situation, whether it's a social thing or, my goodness, before turning on your computer, before opening the lid to your laptop, pause. Who's doing this? That's who's doing it. And now proceed. And then show up as that. Cary Grant said, I just acted like Cary Grant so long that I became him. Now, maybe we can call that fake it till you make it. Maybe we could. I don't know. But it was a deliberate choice of who's showing up. Who am I being? Therefore, what do I do? And therefore, what will I have? That was a decision. So I guess the bottom line for all this is, are you consciously and consistently making that decision? Consciously. To the point where it becomes habitual. Yes, to a degree. And if you're, if you've arrived or something, and like that's it, you're demonstrating everything you intend to demonstrate as far as your goals, your affluence, your lifestyle, your relationships, your fitness. Okay. Well done. You be my mentor on that. Show me where I've, maybe you've got some ideas. I'd love to hear them about how you've become so habitually such a high integrity person. Integrity to yourself, right? I'm not saying that. A lot of times people use that word integrity and they add meaning to it. I'm just talking about being whole, undivided and undiminished. That's what I'm talking about. All right. So it's not a good, bad, right or wrong thing. It's just, think of structural integrity of a building, right? I mean, you want to build on a solid foundation, right? That's called structural integrity. Okay. Do you have that? Sure. To a degree. All right. So like when I wrote that book, I wasn't saying, look, guys, I'm perfect. I've arrived. No, I'm just saying intellectually, there it is, right? There's my problem. And yours is, to whatever degree I forget who I am, or I become the effect of all the outside influences that convince me that I'm not that, right? To that degree, I lose. But to the degree that I show up fully, unapologetically, with certainty, right? And no cognitive dissonance about it, to that degree, my goodness, my results are awesome. Never mind, John, you're doing better than the guy in the street. Now you're a top earner, right? Now you're making a spectacle of yourself, which has its own set of issues that come with it. But my goodness, pick your problems, right? Just like we've talked about many times, right? So if I'm going to say yes to this beingness and this activity and these results, right? If I'm going to say yes to that, then yeah, I'm going to obviously say no to the other things. I can't be diminished in that. I can't get to the top of this mountain and mess around at the trailhead of this mountain, right? Pick a mountain and climb it. Maybe that's the punchline for today. Pick the mountain. Right now I'm in Salt Lake City. We've got lots of mountains. The Rockies, right? Some of you have never seen the Rocky Mountains. Pretty awesome. Colorado, I know Virginia, she knows about mountains, right? You got 14,000 footers, right? Here in Utah, some 13 plus. How many of them can you climb at once? One. Interestingly, there's a mountain here in the Uinta Range, which is part of the Rockies. Mount Lavenia is here. It's spelled differently than my last name. Apparently, it's a really hard mountain to climb too. Lots of scree. Scree is when you walk in the rocks and the rubble and stuff. Well, that's called scree. It's unstable ground. Maybe that's a metaphor. Mount Lavenia is unstable. All right, let me stop talking. Oh my goodness, very intimate crowd here today because a lot of us are in a meeting, which I'm not in right now because we got a lot of people involved in this business convention that I'm in. But any ideas on this? Showing up fully, please feel free to come on out. I do know we have people on our YouTube as well. Glad you guys are here tuning in either live or recorded. And thanks again for dealing with my awful lighting today. Any thoughts on this, or shall we? Virginia, yes, please.
Hey, good morning, Vietnam and everybody else. I am packing. I get on a plane 5 o'clock Mountain Time to go back to Denver for the weekend. And so I'm got stuff everywhere, just putting in all the winter clothes that need to go back home because I don't need them anymore. But this is a great topic. You having a good time in Salt Lake?
I am. I used to live here, as I think you know, and it's good to be back and eat at some of the restaurants. Of course, see the people. That's really what it's about.
Mhm. Well, yeah, it's very much don't chase multiple rabbits, focus, and sometimes we do have different avenues of income, or business propositions we all kind of have our fingers in different things, but try to honing in on that is, you know, is allocating your time. Or I said, oh, Jerry, what is his last? No, Jerry is his last name, Jeary. His first name is Tony, Tony, and he's a consultant on how to maximize um, growth and potential. And he's actually been hired on with Beamer. But when I look at his background, oh my gosh, he worked with Zig Ziglar. Zig Ziglar hired him. He worked with Congress on how to, improve the functions of the supportive staff for this for Congress, which is like 1,000 people or something. So he's got all these experiences, and he's talking about high leverage activities, what to spend your time on, and to make sure that you're allocating your time to those things that bring the high results and the returns, which we've touched on in the past as well. And I have a tendency to let myself do everything, like you, John. You want to do it all. We want to do the high leverage. We want to manage this. We want to manage that. And sometimes trying to manage the mindless, low-level activities are almost a way of relaxation, I think. It's like, I can do this. I don't need a lot of input or effort, but it's not necessarily the best use of my time. So yeah, I'm just trying to go back to focusing on, high level, especially if I'm juggling multiple avenues of income, plus working my side gig as a nurse. So yeah, so I like what I came in late, and I apologize, but I like what I hear, and I like your background. That's not a virtual, is it?
No, this is real. It's one of the bedrooms here at this penthouse that we're in. So,
nice.
yeah,
Nice.
it's like a modern industrial. It's got bricks and wood, and there's like some steel. It looks like pieces of like steel sheet, like scrap metal almost, right? That's like welded up to. It's kind of interesting. Yeah. Interesting
Nice.
look. Exposed ducting, So.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's real brick too. That's not like a brick face. That's like, yeah. That's like the outer wall of the building right there. There you go. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good times.
Mandy loved the red nails.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on my way after this to do a pedicure.
Oh, good choice. Yeah, pedicures. I love my pedicures. Actually, I have never had a pedicure, but if I did, I would love it.
Guys get them. They do.
I know. Yeah.
Analysis off the skin, you go get all that gunk that's under there. What do they call it?
Boy, this conversation went in a different direction. It's Friday the 13th. That's why. Okay. Very good. Thank you.
A good day so far.
All
right. Thanks.
Awesome. Have a good one. All right. Well, then, if anybody else, Mandy, yes, with your red nails.
Yeah, they've just got done today. I can't have my feet done. I'm too ticklish picking them. But this has been coming up quite a lot for me in the last couple of months, or probably in the last year actually. And I think you're dead right in everything that you say. And the more you hear it, well, the more you take it in, but we know that anyway. I mean, one thing we do have from JLSM is the awareness of where we are and where we aren't. Because by having that awareness, at least you can say, right, I'm doing this today, and that's not what I should be doing. This is what I should be doing. And if you don't even know that, then you don't know where you could be. But Tony Robbins, yourself, they've all said about this thing about, decide what you want to, who you want to be. And so has Bob Proctor, which because he was he was your mentor, wasn't he? I think. Mm-hmm. And we did this last week. Ali and I did this in the book club last week. So we did the chapter on the image maker. And he's basically saying that before you go on any further, you have to write out who it is that you want to be, so that you know who is now moving forward with the rest of the information in the book. This alter ego, or whatever you want to call it, called Elizabeth. So I need to build on Elizabeth as well. And I do believe that when you are that person that you can see is the person that you'd like to be, everything just goes together so much better. Over the last year, I've spent more time trying to find out what my limiting beliefs are so that I can change them and be that person anyway. And I totally agree with the authenticity you said, and just be something to somebody, not everything to everybody. But also, Ali and I have spoken about it as well, is that, again, we always said, we're reading all these books, but we've got to put the things in place. And it's another thing that Bob Proctor says, you've got to put these things in place because we're learning so much, and knowledge is only power if you use it. And we know these things, but it's changing all these things that we've done for all those years to be that person and do that and take this. So sometimes I think I'm just going to take the time out now. I'm going to sit there and take, because I've got all copies of all the books we've done because I've had to print them all off and everything. But you just want to take those little bits out of them and know what you can do. And they're so powerful. And put this all together and you can get up that mountain, that one mountain. That's why people have lost. Stop doing Amazon. I'm not doing Amazon in that way, but you can feel that you're near the gold, and I don't want to step back from that, whereas lots of people are going off and they're going to different roles and they're getting jobs and things like that, and I just want to stay on this path first to see who is showing up, and if I show up 100%, what can I do? Because I know, like you said, I'm not been showing up 100%, but if I show up 100%, what can I do? Let's show up 100%, put yourself into it. Be that person you can be from all these things that you've been doing and all the things you've been reading, and look at who's doing it. And yeah, I totally agree with everything you said. You probably saw me nodding like this. Right?
Well, thank you, Mandy. If it feels right, then it's right. It's kind of like I heard a guitar instructor say this, talking about music. He said, if it sounds good, it is good. That's it. Because people get so into like the minutia of it. Well, is it music or is it noise? You tell me, right? If it sounds good, it is good. So if that music is playing in you, right, here's Mandy. Here is the truth of who Mandy is. Well, then go be that, right? And there's less argument, which means you're what? You're not diminished, right? You're showing up fully.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Almost too simple, guys. Almost too simple. So where do we go astray? Well,
yeah. In our heads.
Yeah, we can have a whole month's discussion on that. All right. I'm going to get back to my next meeting. If everybody's good, you guys make it an awesome day. No Be Heard today. So I do want to hear you. Okay. I'm just not going to be available to do it today. So we'll be back on a full schedule next week. In the meantime, make it a great weekend. Okay. And I'll be showing up on